Alan Stratton from Aswood Turns. For some time now I've been dealing with roses and digging up various roses from a yard and attempting to turn the root of the rose. And I've had some, but I'm not happy yet with how they've turned out. But here's another rose, and this time I think it's reasonable. Even put a rose in it for now. But it's out of the root of the rose, and I think this one may have a chance of turning out quite nice. However, it is wet and still has to dry. So in the meantime, I'm going to wrap it up in a paper towel and kind of temper it a little bit with a bag so that only a little air can exchange each time. And I'll check on this every couple of days and freshen the air and freshen the towel. And also, by the way, make sure that when you use an oil finish that you spread out the towels, let them dry, and preferably get them outside into the trash so that if they catch fire, it's not inside. But for now, let's turn this little vase.
The rose root is very wet. Since digging it, a couple of sprouts have grown 6 to 8 inches. It looks like it should be big enough for a larger diameter vase with warped fins that I saw demonstrated recently. I'm mounting it between centers for the initial roughing with a spindle roughing gouge. I need to see how much wood I have to work with. This piece will not have a large enough diameter for my regular chuck jaws. Bad experiences with wet rose of this small diameter glued to a faceplate. So I'll cut a tenon that I can glue to a waste block for remounting. I'm having to cut away a lot of wood to find the solid wood without bark and a lot of bark inclusions. My wood keeps getting smaller and smaller. Now too small for the original project. A vase will have to do. Then I'm drilling out a wooden faceplate and gluing the vase into the mortise with Titebond 2. I'll let it dry overnight. To keep the wood from drying too quickly, I'm wrapping it in a plastic bag with a little water. Next I can true it up. Remounted wood is never exactly lined up. Then proceed to bore out the center with a Forstner bit. But when I start hollowing it, it starts to wobble. The glue failed, probably due to the water I put in the plastic bag. So I clean up the joint and glue it again. Again, I let it dry overnight. This time, I'll wrap the wood in plastic, but not add any water. Okay, I'm back to work again. Again, I true up the exterior. My vase is getting even smaller. I've seen this movie before. This time I figure the problem is just the wet wood not bonding. I'm gluing it again, this time with medium CA glue. Then let it harden overnight. CA likes moisture. This time I go directly to hollowing. My tool is a 1/2 inch steel rod with a hole drilled in the end. I've epoxied a high-speed steel bit into the rod. Then the steel rod goes into a spare handle. The CA glue holds. I'm hollowing about as much as I dare, given that the exterior is off again from the re-gluing. I'm nervous about the large bark inclusion in the bottom half. I think I'll quit while I'm ahead. I'm bringing up the cone center in the tailstock and truing the exterior. I should have done this before hollowing, except that if it was going to blow up in hollowing, I did not want to have spent the time truing the exterior first. But all is well. The exterior is dry enough that I'm able to sand it up through the grits without clogging the sandpaper too much. Finally, I part it off. Sand the bottom on the drill press before applying walnut oil to my vase. This one survived. I'll never use Titebond on wet wood again. It will be CA or Gorilla. The vase still needs to dry. It will distort and maybe crack with all the convoluted grain in the root section. I think it will still look great, but with some character in the texture. I doubt it will remain smooth. A high-risk project that has turned out nicely. That's a wrap. We'll see you again next week for another wood-turning video. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends. Always wear your full face shield. Goggles are not enough protection. Until next week, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. Let's keep turning.